they have all pledged they will not enforce the red light cameras. So I know we have our red light queen here, and I want to get that question out of the way. And now y'all can have your 2-minute opens.
Howdy, my name is Trasa Robertson Coberson, and I'm running to be your next Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector. And I'm currently a teacher, and so as a teacher, we do things that we can remember clearly and that are very efficient to convey and very easy to talk about. And so I have a 3x3 plan. My 3x3 plan is this. My vow to the taxpayers, to you, is that I would be a voice, a conservative voice for property tax reduction, both in this county and in this state. My number 2 is my voting record. I have consistently voted to reduce the property tax rate in Hearst, and that shows my commitment to property tax reduction. And number 3 is I'm vetted. I'm vetted at home, and I'm vetted in the city council as someone who's run a tight budget. And I would take that same conservative view in the tax office. My other 3-part is a 3-pronged plan for the tax office, and that is 1, efficiency, that we would use your tax money and be aware that it's your tax money and make sure that every single dollar is used wisely. The second one is teamwork, because the tax office is a great team, and I want to continue that and keep them running well as a team, because that brings excellence and that brings accountability. And the third one is integrity. I am who I say I am, and I do what I say I do. And so you can rely on me. There's almost $4 billion that runs through that tax office. And while you might not have the choice of whether to pay your taxes to the county or not, you 100% have the choice of whose hands you put that money in. So I ask for your vote and your support. Thank you very much.
How much court? So come on, get close.
Aren't you glad we all use time?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wendy Burgess. I am simply running for this position because the incomparable Ron Wright has decided to run for Congress. And I saw it as my opportunity to further serve the fellow citizens of Tarrant County. I bring to you over 20 years of business experience. I bring to you a servant's heart and servant's experience within my community, within my Rotary Club and my chamber, and 6 years on Mansfield City Council, and helping the neighbors that I helped every single day as a council member understand the issues that impacted them, and more importantly, me understanding the issues as they impacted their family. It was a discussion, and discussions are important. Conversations are important. That's what I would bring to this office as well. I also bring a firm Republican history to this group as well. I have been active within the Republican Party for quite some time. I have been a delegate for the state. I have held parties and fundraisers at my home for various candidates, local as well as national. And so I'm not new to this party. I've been here with you this entire time, standing shoulder to shoulder with you. And I'm very fortunate to stand shoulder to shoulder with many individuals in this room and outside of this room that have endorsed me. I have, let's see, 36 individuals that are elected officials that have endorsed me. I have over 70 precinct chairs and local activists that have already endorsed me. I stand shoulder to shoulder with all of them to make sure that the Tarrant County Tax Office is an office of you, the people. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Thanks for having us here tonight, and thanks on behalf of all the candidates for opening the doors to let people talk to you and share with you tonight. My name is Rick Barnes, and I look forward to serving as your next Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector. A little bit of my history: I was born in Fort Worth. I'm a Gladney baby. I was adopted as an infant and grew up in West Texas with in an educator family. My dad was actually my high school principal. My mom was a third grade school teacher, and we survived each other. And so here we are. I went to school at Texas Tech University, have a degree in economics and finance, did my master's at TCU, went into the university administration business for about 15 years, during which I also started my own business as a speaker and consultant. I've traveled the country. I've spoken in 48 of the 50 states on various topics of leadership, strategic planning, long-range goal setting, and that's been my background in business up until 4 years ago when I was elected Mayor Pro Tem of Keller, where I served the people of our city and made strong decisions that relate to this job. Every chance I ever had to talk about lowering taxes, I was the one on council that always brought that conversation up. We lowered the tax rate every chance we had, but I'm never going to be dishonest in my understanding of what that means. Taxes still went up because that's the reality of how it works whenever your values go up. And I want to be very clear and honest with anybody that just because we lower tax rates does not mean your taxes go down. If your taxes go up, if you pay more in taxes from last year, I think your taxes went up. The other thing that I did, I was a part of a champion of a ethics policy on our city council. We had a city council before us that didn't believe that it was important to have to follow an ethics policy, and we thought it was. So we instituted a new policy that's mandated whether you want to sign off on it or not. And so I think I have a lot of background, a lot of history that's beneficial to a job of working in an environment like this and working with this much money and this much understanding of people and this much understanding of your taxes. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and look forward to answering your questions. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Snyder, and I want to tell you why I'm running for this office, because I am a friend of the taxpayers. I will be a strong voice for the taxpayers, both at the Assessor Collector's Office, at the Tarrant Appraisal District, where I will be an ex officio member, and I will speak up for the taxpayers there. But more importantly, and Ron Wright set this pattern extremely well in his last year when he went to the state legislature and used his platform as the assessor collector for the third largest district in this state and campaigned for Senate Bill number 2. Senate Bill number 2 is extremely important in giving you, putting you, or not you, but in your hands, the decision-making power of whether taxes go up or down. And I'll discuss that a little bit more with you later in person, face-to-face, if that occasion happens here. The one thing I want to tell you is you need to know a little bit about me personally. I have been a lifelong Republican. I believe that the smallest government is the best government. I believe that we should not spend any money that we do not have. I believe that life begins at conception or before and does not end until natural death. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe in the creed of the greatest president to serve this country, Ronald Reagan, who believed that we need to reinstitute the precept that we are responsible for our own individual actions. To perfectly put a point on it, no more red light cameras are going to be held. We are not going to hold hostage your vehicle registrations to make sure that you pay your red light camera fees. Not going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be a strong voice for the taxpayers, not only here in Tarrant County, but at the state legislature. Make no mistake, we are on the precipice of becoming branded as one of the high-tax states in this country. And ladies and gentlemen, if we don't bring comprehensive property tax reform to Texas, we are all going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg.
All right, we're going to go to Mr. Snyder first, and then Mr. Barnes, you were on the other side, so we're going to go to you and come back this way. Okay. If elected as our new tax assessor collector, what would you change about how the office runs and why?
Very good question. Day one, I will institute Lean Six Sigma management philosophies in the tax office. One thing that is important to understand is that there is no operation that you cannot apply these kind of principles, that you will not find more waste and more efficiency. And I have a plan specifically to bring more efficiency to the office. We've been blessed with the service of Ron Wright, who is sitting back there, as well as Betsy Price. I want to continue those improvements by instituting these philosophies that are well practiced by some of the major corporations in this country. I also want to endorse the pilot plan that Ron has discussed with me concerning the motor vehicles division. We have 8 tax offices in this town because we need to take care of the volume of 1.5 million automobile registrations a year. I want to explore and use as a pilot, Tarrant County uses it as a pilot, for these kiosk programs where we will put those kiosks into each of the county offices so that you can have a 2-minute transaction to renew your license. And I'll discuss more of that plan with you in detail if you wish.
So there's two things that come to mind for me. Day one on the job, and my role, my way of thinking is I want to get out and understand what the people are doing. It's a large operation, and I've told multiple people that if I'm elected, don't be surprised to see me actually working one of the windows when you come pay your car taxes, because I think you need to understand whatever level of the operation is doing, including the front line. And so I want to be a part of that. The other thing, though, that I definitely want to do is understand that this is an administrative role. And so as an administrative role, we serve all of Tarrant County, not just this party. So we serve everybody down there. And I want to know that my staff is reflective of the people that live in Tarrant County, and that we have an opportunity to put people in positions that are going to be able to represent the languages that may need to be understood, but also the ability to bring in the tax conversations with whoever steps to the window, because they don't think that they're walking into just a Republican office, because it serves the entire county, and I think that's important to talk about. So thank you.
My first day actually started on December 1st, 2017, the day that I filed for this. And that's the day that I started increasing my knowledge of the understanding of this office. On day one, actually, after taking office, I will implement a full audit of all policies and procedures for the office to completely understand, based on my understanding from businesses that I've run in the past, and look for opportunities for efficiency changes, as well as speaking to the individuals that have worked there, because I don't think that I'm going to know the place better on day one than the people that are actually there. So an opportunity to listen and have conversations. I shared with you conversations are very important, and those are conversations that I will absolutely have. Another thing that I'd like to make sure to take care of are some of the problems that I've had citizens mention to me in the process, and those will be on my day one agenda. Thank you.
All right, there's a couple of things that I would like to change. The first would be, I wouldn't even wait till my first day on the job to start learning more about this. I've already spoken with Mr. Wright several times, been in the tax office more than once, and had time spent in there to find out about the job. But if I'm elected, I'm a teacher currently, and so I have the summer off, and I already talked with Mr. Wright about coming in and shadowing for the entire summer and finding out what exactly the job entails, so that before you pay me a single dollar, I'll be ready to jump into that job. The second thing is that you, as Tarrant County taxpayers, you subsidize what the state pays for motor vehicles in this county to the tune of $400,000. And that needs to stop, because that's your money going to the state and the state giving nothing back. So I would absolutely schedule a meeting with Whitney Brewster, the head of DMV, the very first week I'm in office, and I would sit down and talk to her about that.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take care of this by a raise of hands again. The first part of this question, and the first part was, do you think property tax reform is a must for Texas property owners? So if you don't think it's a must for Texas property owners, raise your hand. Okay, I thought we didn't need to ask that in this question, but we are going to ask the second part. So keeping that in mind, that property tax reform is a must, then what specifically do you propose, and how would you advocate for that with the Texas legislature?
So it is an absolute must, because what we're hearing at the city levels now is that we're starting to have a reality for some folks that they can no longer afford their homes, not because of their homes, but because of their taxes. One of the realities in Texas is that you never ever really own your home. Somebody always owns it on your behalf, and unfortunately it's the bank up until you pay it off, and then it's the government for the portion that they get from you every year. And we got to have a conversation about that. I think one of the things we need to do in Austin is really force the representatives that we're sending down there to do what they're saying they're going to do right now while they're out working the campaign trail. This is a conversation I've heard from every one of them, that they say when they're going to get to Austin, this is going to be their #1 issue, and yet we've heard that from them in the past, and a lot of them are going down and doing nothing about it when they get there. We got some great great leaders in this part of the state, in this county, and we need to get behind our leaders that are in this county and encourage them to be strong and to hold up the reality of coming up with conversations about this issue. And it's not just related to city taxes. Our school taxes is where a big bulk of that is going, and we got to have some honest conversations about that money.
There's a theme going tonight. This absolutely starts with communication. We need to, I understand that everyone wants their taxes to go down. We need to have meaningful discussions about that and have meaningful discussions within clubs like this, within the individuals, with members that have relationships with the legislators that can actually take effect on this. We need to have those hard discussions and come up with a plan. Plans are out there. We have amazing people that live in Tarrant County, and I think if we all come together with a conversation, it can start. I would take the turn to make sure to listen. Communication is amazing. Listening is even better. Listening to the citizens and their concerns, what their wants and needs are, because I would be representing you. I would not be your mouthpiece. I would be listening to you. And I would make sure to take that message that you gave to me to the legislators with the relationships that I already have. I don't have to form them. Thank you.
Yes, you know, in the most recent poll of the state, there are two issues that are at the top of the list for Texans. And the first one is the wall. The second one is property taxes. And so around the state, people are concerned about this, not just in Tarrant County. This is something we definitely need to address, and everybody up here agrees with that. And I think that a lot has been made about our municipal taxes. But if you take out your tax bill and you look at your tax bill, schools take up the majority of your tax bill. Okay? As a teacher, I absolutely am in favor of school finance reform. And I think most people, if they looked at the situation in Texas, they would want to reform the school's finance situation as well. And so that is what I would be talking to legislators about, is that quit messing with the part that's only 24 cents out of my $100. Mess with the part that's 52 cents.
I will follow the lead of Ron Wright, who went down last year and testified in behalf of SB 2. I also like part of the program that Governor Abbott has put forward. You need to understand what SB 2 does and why I will use the platform as Ron Wright did as a tax assessor from Tarrant County and testifying before the legislature. And that is to lower the trigger for the rollback elections. What we don't get from the cities, the counties, the school boards, the hospital districts is it's not the rate that is the problem here. The constant ratcheting up of your property taxes is driven by the budgets that are passed by those cities, the counties, the school boards, and we have to be able to approach those. What Senate Bill 2 does is set the rollback trigger at 3%. And if you analyze all of the city budgets as well as the county budgets, as well as the hospital board districts and the school districts, you will find that almost every one of those would be triggered into a mandatory rollback election, putting the power in your hands to make that decision. And I will be a strong voice for SB 2 at the state capitol.
Thank you. We are going to go do some 30-second answers so we can get a couple more questions in here. And we are going to start Wendy, and we're going to go this way. Okay. I am very glad that nobody wants red light cameras and everybody thinks property tax reform is a good priority. So, what makes you different from your opponent? 30 seconds.
What makes me different from my opponents is the business history that I have. I've run my own business. I have not only employed myself, I've employed others within Tarrant County and across the United States. So I think that's very important to bring in because this is a $3.6 billion office spread across 8 offices in Tarrant County. And so I think that when you're hiring for this position, you want to hire an executive that can run that business to the best of their abilities. And that's what I bring to this.
I like that.
All right. I don't bring business experience, but what I bring is that I am one of you, that I am a taxpayer, that I am on that side of the window, and I have had to see our property taxes going up year after year like you have. I am a teacher, and so I deal with over 100 11th grade students every single day. If I can manage 100 16 and 17-year-olds, I think I can manage 200 adults. It's pretty equal.
Not really.
The difference between me and the others is I'm a communicator. I have been in people's homes in North Texas for 37 years. I've been investigating the issues that are important to this county and important to people. I'm also a taxpayer in this county, and I have been investigating the pieces that make important, or at least hopefully help you make important decisions in your life. One of the things I want to bring to this job is communicating to people in this county exactly how their taxes are computed, how they're paying, and where they can go best to reduce their tax burden.
You keep doing all right.
I too own my own business. I too am an educator. I also pay my taxes, never have not paid my taxes. And so the reality is that I think what separates me from the rest on this board, on this panel, is that I've also served in leadership capacities on 14 nonprofit boards of directors. And why I think that's significant is that was my peers asking me to be their leader. It wasn't me talking about how great I am. It was my peers telling me, you're good enough to be our leader. We want you to step up. And I think I bring leadership to the conversation.
All right, and our last question, still 30 seconds. What is the key to success when communicating with the public, and how will you do so if elected?
I think the key to success with dealing with the public, with communicating with the public, is absolute honesty and integrity. I would absolutely deal with them in an honest way. I will tell you if I can't do something for you. I will tell you if it's not possible to be done. But I will do my very, very best to get you what you want. And I would absolutely deal with you in that capacity.
We're going to go with Snyder.
I've been waiting for that drink of water all night.
Yeah.
I think the important thing, and Trasa really touches on it, is honesty. Absolute root honesty. And so that the question has been raised so that you all know, not only have I paid all of my taxes, not only did I pay my federal taxes, but I want you all to know that when my wife had a heart attack and we had bills to pay at the end, I took an early withdrawal from my own personal retirement funds, and I paid the bill. I took responsibility for myself, and because I used my own money to pay my wife's own bills, I got a penalty from the IRS, so that you all know exactly what happened. Thank you.
For 20 years, I've served as a speaker and consultant, and I plan to bring that to the conversation. One of the things I think Ron Wright has started is really good as an education piece to help people understand what's going on. But to this day, I still believe there's lots of people that don't understand, first of all, how your tax rate gets done, because I also think there's members of city councils that don't even understand how their tax rate's done. And so I think we need to be out there being a part of that conversation and educating people to understand the reality of it, because I think when you're educated, you make better decisions, and I plan to bring that to the conversation.
The important part of communication is actually listening. I would take the time to listen to the individual's concerns, take in their real concerns, the root of it, and ask them, what action would you like me to move forward with, and actually go out and do it. I've done this in the past, and so I think the most important part of the communication piece is the actual listening, and then disseminating that information into an answer for that individual.
Thank y'all. We're going to have a 1-minute close, and Rick and Wendy, you were stuck in the middle. So Rick, you're going to go first, Mike second, Trasa third, and Wendy last.
Well, thank you. Thanks for allowing us to be here tonight. Again, I appreciate this opportunity. As I wrap up my thoughts on this, here's the truth to me. I've run against people before that I don't like. I like all three of these people, and this is an interesting process for us. This is our second one of these today, I think, who can answer the questions on behalf of each other. The truth is that I think you need somebody in this office that understands how to do a few things. My values I'm going to bring to the conversation. I've been married for 30 years. I want to bring the value of that kind of commitment to the conversation. I have a car out in the parking lot. This one has 120,000 miles on it. It's been paid for about 6 years. I treat myself the way I want to treat you and your money. But the last thing I want to ask of you is I want to ask 3 things. I want to ask that you support candidates. I don't care which candidate you support, get behind them, but also support their families, their spouses, be a part of the conversation. Get behind us with your support financially. It's expensive to run these campaigns, but the last thing I want to ask you to do is get out and vote. One of the things that we have a struggle with in this county is people voting, and I think it's because most people are pretty comfortable, but we got to get them off of that comfort level to the point that they'll vote. And I encourage you to vote, and when you do, vote for Rick Barnes. Thank you very much.
Well, in this world of fake news, I all want you to know one thing. I am a recovering journalist. All right? I also want you all to realize this reality. We are about to become one of the high states, high tax states, branded like New York, New Jersey, Washington, California. And if we do not get a handle on constantly rising property tax rates in this state, we will no longer be invited to participate in the competition for Amazon, Google, or Toyota. And that's why we need to have someone in this position who can go down, use the platform as the tax assessor collector, go down to the legislature like Ron Wright did, and campaign and testify on behalf of property tax reform like SB 2 and the governor's plan to make the members of the Tarrant County Tax or the Tarrant County Appraisal District elected by the people, so they will have to answer to us for raising what we get as the appraisals in our bills. Thank you very much, Mike Snyder for Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector.
I absolutely will bring excellence to this job. It has been expertly guided by Ron Wright for the last few years, and it needs someone who can continue that level of excellence. I am often told by my peers that I do excellent work, and that's in many different ways. This year I was named, for the second time, I was named Teacher of the Year nominee. In the first 2 years that I was eligible, I have been nominated both years. I just got an award from the Daughters of the American Revolution, who named me the #2 outstanding American history teacher in Texas. And then yesterday, we got notice that Stuart Lane from DFW Conservative Voters believes that I can do this job better than anybody else. And so I just wanted to tell you that you could put it in my hands, and it'll be in good hands.
Thank you for spending time with us, everyone. My name is Wendy Burgess again. Excuse me. And we've got very cold air blowing up here. I'm running to be your tax assessor collector because I care. Simply, I care. I care about my community. I care about the individuals. I've served my neighbors in Mansfield, and I look forward to serving my neighbors within Tarrant County moving forward. This is an amazing opportunity that you have. Most of us don't have this opportunity. You get to hire for a $3.6 billion company, and you are the board of directors. Each vote that you cast is a choice in who you believe can handle $3.6 billion and the personal liability of every single dollar that that office takes in. I bring my experience, my service to the community, and my service to the Republican Party to the platform, and I look forward to earning your vote March 6th. Early voting starts February 20th, and my name is Wendy Burgess. I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Thank you to all of y'all. Thank you to all of